Hello everyone! Welcome back to Drawn by Annie channel. This is me, Annie, and I will be drawing for you today. Grab your tea, coffee and snacks and let's dive into today's video. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm very excited today because I am working on something that brings me joy remembering the experience. Because I decided to make a fan art of a character that comes from a roleplay game named Baldur's Gate 3. In fact, this is part 1 of the video, and in part 2 I'm going to do the second half of the spread. But today I'm going to work on a portrait of a Karlach. I've seen a lot of artists do fan art on Baldur's Gate, but for the longest time I was skipping the game and avoiding it for no reason. I mean, at the time of release it was super popular and I think my husband played it like 2 or 3 times in a row and trying out different stories and stuff, but I wasn't interested that much in roleplay gaming in like a computer version of it. I am mostly into a tabletop roleplay gaming because it involves my friends also, and I'm mostly having fun because of the friends and community. And also games tend to be more linear and they don't give you much choice, and I mean that's a specific of a computer game. Like you cannot really have a fully customized experience to yourself. Like there's always some sort of rail, and that's kind of what pushed me back from it. But you remember how I was telling you about my sickness saga in one of my previous videos? If you haven't seen it, you go check out Riven canvas painting because I was telling a full story about it. But I must warn you because it has quite a lot of details about health issues. So if you're very sensitive or impressionable, maybe you better skip that one. But anyway, I was telling there how I got sick and how it was so long that lasted like over 3 weeks, and it means that I was out of life basically for all this time because I couldn't really go anywhere or experience anything. And since my husband had a vacation, he was mostly taking care of me and, you know, doing the usual stuff and groceries and cleaning and everything. But we did have to spend the time somehow because, I mean, the dude is on a vacation, he needs to have fun, and I felt real guilty, but I mean it wasn't my fault anyway, but whatever. We found a way to spend some fun together. So he was very insistent on me trying out this game named Divinity Original Sin, and he was trying to convince me to try it out for a long time, and I wasn't sure about it. And I mean it's a long game and we had to kind of commit to it because most of the fun part is in the story, and I am very bad at remembering stuff unless I'm committed to it. So it would mean that we had to play like very regularly so I could stay in the context of the game and story. So this was apparently a perfect opportunity to do so. And for some context, Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2 were both games of one setting or one universe that were produced by Larian Studios, which were also producers and developers of the Baldur's Gate 3, and both Karlach and the Starion are coming from the Baldur's Gate 3. But for some context and some history check how I got into Baldur's Gate, I'm gonna share my little experience with the first 2 games because they are quite similar in terms of like a genre, because all these 3 games, since they were produced and developed by one studio, they are very similar to each other engine wise and storytelling wise. It's just Baldur's Gate is a little bit more developed because it's a later game, so the more games the studio is producing, the better they become, right? So me and my husband would spend all these weeks of his vacation and my sickness experiencing these stories. Even though he was not first time player, he forgot most of the stuff, so it felt like he was playing it first time anyway. So, and he was also very happy that I finally accepted his proposal to play those games, and honestly we had a lot of fun doing it, and I liked all of these stories in general and the details of it and the different characters and all that. And we played custom characters and took the pre-existed ones as companions. So this is exactly the reason that I picked Karlach and Astarion as my drawing models. because in Baldur's Gate I had Astarion in my team and he had Karlach. And it's funny because he didn't intend to take Karlach as his companion. Firstly, he accepted Lae'zel as his first companion just because she was like the first character to appear in the story, or like one of the first. But later on he wanted to take Halsen as his main companion. But when we met Karlach and we managed to recruit her, I kind of fell for her, and he's like, do you want me to take her on the team? Because I mean, she's cute and she's nice. I'm like, yeah, please do. And then when we will arrive to the Halsen's place and like complete his quest and make him join our party or something, we can switch later on. So Karlach was intended to be a temporary decision of this, but she ended up being with us till the end of the game. And she has a nice story, and I appreciate most about her character, because she is this straight, kind of person that will tell you the truth, but also be very soft-hearted, if that is applicable in her case. For those who know, those know. If you don't know, go play the game, damn it. It's a good game. This type of people and characters are just my favorite type, and I would love to have those kind of people around me. So yeah, that's why I fell for her like instantly. And honestly, I'm trying to be this type of person myself, but I mean, it's not always possible, but I'm trying my best, I promise. And my husband was building her as a druid. I know she's supposed to be like a barbarian, but he wanted a druid in his team, so he got it. And it was pretty sick, honestly. Like, most of the fights that were happening were won just because we had a heavy as hell tank of an owl bear. It was just impossible to defeat her, whatever they tried to do. We were just struggling sometimes with boss fights, but most of the time I was talking us out of the trouble because I was playing as Bard, and half of the fights were just bypassed through my beautiful and bold speech skill, as well as my performance checks and charisma checks. And I have zero regrets about it, because fighting was very hard for me, honestly. In all of these 3 games, fighting was pretty hard. I'm not used to the strategic 1-by-1 turn-based fights like at all, so I was glad I could skip some of those by just talking to people and convincing them that we're the good guys, you know. Trust us. And then proceed destroying the goblin village. So yeah, that's a first part of my experience of Divinity and Baldur's Gate games. And in my next video, I'm going to tell you how I built Astarion and some of the fun stories, and how we passed through the main quest and all of that, and how we screwed up most of the parts of the Act 2. So stay tuned for part 2, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!